you are here for queen sacrifice, and you get it. This is Amit Tabatabai versus Nihal Sarin, and after bishop into d5, Nihal Sarin voluntarily gave up his queen with knight takes c6, and the point is that if bishop into f7, black loses the queen. Now this is a sacrifice that Nihal had figured out. This is a game from the Junior Speed Chess Championship, and here he played rook f7. Now objectively, after rook takes d8, bishop takes d8, the position is equal. But the impact of this queen sacrifice was so huge that after queen e4, knight d4, went down in this position. Here he had to find knight c3 to keep the game going, and the point is that if black takes bc3, he has queen d4, and after bishop b6 he can play queen d1, and the game keeps going. But black is I think better in this position. But after knight d4, queen takes d4, white is lost, and Nihal found the winning continuation with rook takes c1 check, and after king g2 he played bishop b6. You can see all of Nihal's pieces are working for one goal, and that is to checkmate the king. After queen e5, the rook comes to f2 and then follows the bishop, and after g4, Nihal attacks the pawn on g4 with rook g1, and after knight d2, it's just mate in 3, 2 and 1. Bishop into d4 check, followed by bishop d8, and after queen e7, it's a mate. So the king is checkmated on h4. Queen sacrifice number 2. Now this position is pretty famous on social media. This is from the Junior Speed Chess Championship match. Nihal was black and Grandmaster Nicolas Cheka was white. After queen g5, Nihal's opponent played knight f3 and Nihal played queen h5. There's no pawn on h2, but the h2 square is sensitive. But there is a knight on f3 which is taking care. So one of the possible ideas for Nihal is to play rook e6 and rook f6 followed by rook f3. This was in the cards, but after queen h5, bc6, bc6, his opponent played rook fc1. And now Nihal played this move in less than 2 seconds, and that means he had seen that rook f7 was a blunder. He came up with a brilliant queen h1 check, queen sacrifice again, and after king takes h1, he collects the pawn on f2 and the queen. And with this, he's won the pawn, and the e3 pawn also falls, and it was just a matter of few moves for Nihal, and he won this game. Queen sacrifice number 3. In this position, after queen d5, he played knight to e5, which I consider a brilliant one, because the point is, after queen takes b3, you see that a b3, rook into c2, black is a piece up. But Nihal had found this Zwischenzug or intermediate move with knight takes c6, which attacks the bishop on e7 and also attacks the queen on b3. So now if black plays rook takes c6, then white can simply collect the queen and is an exchange up. And if black moves the queen, let's say to b7, then there is knight takes e7 followed by rook takes c8. So after queen b3 and knight takes c6, here Nihal played queen a3, and Nihal said thank you. He picked up the bishop and then picked up the rook. Now he proved that 2 rooks in this position is going to win against the queen, because after rook c7, the 2 rooks are not only on very important ranks, but they're also able to threaten checkmate. So in this position, you see that the king has very less squares, and in a few moves, Nihal was able to checkmate his opponent. Queen sacrifice number 4, and this was against MVL. In this position, MVL played knight into c5. He should have played rook f d1 in this position, but he went wrong with knight takes c5. The next move is obvious. The pawn on d4 is hanging, so you pick it. But what do you do after bishop e3? There lies the magical move of Nihal Sarin. In this position, Nihal plays bishop into c5. What a move. It's like the bishop is powering the queen. And after bishop into c5, MVL played bishop into d4. And after this, bishop into d4 would have won the game quickly. But Nihal played knight into d4, missing a resource for white here. So MVL had a chance to survive in this position. He played rook a8 check, which is right, and after king d7, he should have played rook d1, because the knight is under a pin. And a possible continuation could have been rook takes 8, then c3 to question the knight on d4, and then black would try to decoy the rook on d1 with rook a1, but white can simply play king f1, getting away from the pin, and after rook a8, queen e1, black has solved his pinning problems, and after rook d1, queen d1, I think the position is balanced. But after king d7, MVL went wrong with queen d3, and Nihal Sarin immediately grabbed his chance to collect the rook on a8, and after c3 pins the pawn with rook a3. And the point is that if white plays g4, he simply moves his king to e7, and after g takes h5 there is knight e2, double check, and after king goes to h2 there is rook takes h5 followed by another brilliant sacrifice, this time to win the opponent's queen with rook takes h3. The point is that if king takes h3 there is knight f4 fork, and if king goes to g2 also, now you need not even worry about capturing the queen. In fact, knight f4 is a checkmate. Next we have the queen sacrifice game between Erik Hansen and Nihal Sarin. This is a simple theme, queen sacrifice, but the tactic here is a lot easier than the positions that I've shown you. In this position, Nihal played queen takes g3, and after rook e f1 he piled up a lot of pressure on g2 with rook g6. But then Erik Hansen posed a question. After queen e7 he's attacking the rook on d8, and if the rook moves then he may continue doing so. So in this position, after queen e7, Nihal finished off the game in style with a stellar queen sacrifice, queen takes g2. After rook takes g2, rook takes g2, king h1, there comes a discovered check. He can actually also capture this, but rook e2 just finishes off the game as the queen hangs, and that's the position after queen g2 where Erik Hansen resigned. So those were 5 positions that I picked which featured queen sacrifices of Nihal Sarin. Tartakor once said that a queen sacrifice, even when fairly obvious, always rejoices the heart of the chess lover. And even Karpov had something to say about queen sacrifice. He said that the combinations with a queen sacrifice are among the most striking and memorable. I hope that this video will be a memorable one and will also inspire you to make those brilliant moves featuring queen sacrifices on chess.com. I'll wish you all the best now. May you make a lot of brilliant moves. Do like the video and don't forget to subscribe. I'll be back with another video soon. And if you make a brilliant move on chess.com, tag us.